Okay, so I'm going to continue on the category of compute here. And I'm kind of looking through all of these and sort of saying a lot of them, some of them we've done and completed, and some of them look quite similar to what we've, already been kind of looking at with Lightsail. So um, I kind of went on to page 2 here, and again, a lot of them are kind of the same. So the one I would probably like to kind of do just quickly is this one because it's related to it is Lightsail, but it's also kind of adding and editing firewall rules. So I think this would kind of be a good one to just do for a little bit of kind of practice here. So basically, it sort of says I'm just going to put this into notes here. So basically, just sort of says Lightsail is the easiest way to get started on AWS. It offers servers, storage, databases, networking, monthly plan. In this tutorial, you will edit and delete firewall rules to an existing instance. Um, you'll also learn how to specify the application layer protocol type, ports, and source addresses that are allowed to connect to your instance. Okay, so prerequisite here, you must already have an instance up and running. Through these tutorials, you can either launch Linux or Windows. So I will probably create an instance from here. So what I can do here is I will go into AWS services. So I'll log in here, log in here. Sometimes I kind of notice this unauthorized and then it says sign in again and it kind of works. I don't know if that's from my location or something, but a bit kind of strange. So anyway, if I kind of go into, so I'm kind of just having to create my instance. You must have already have an instance up and running. I'm much more of a kind of Linux person than I am Windows, so I'm going to go in here, create instance, change the zone, choose an instance, Amazon Linux. So we're going to do this. So go back into Lightsail here, Lightsail, go into instances, create instance. So we are in Ireland, Linux. I'm just going to pick operating system only, Amazon Linux, which is fine. A launch script, it doesn't seem like we need to add a launch script here. Optional, optional snapshot. We don't need to create any snapshot. This is all optional stuff, create instance. So that's all just kind of optional stuff. I'm just going to create the most basic Linux version that I basically kind of can. So this is basically coming up now. So this will just be our instance for our demo here. So kind of go back to our firewall rules here, demo. So basically you must already have an instance up and running. That's on the way. Add and edit the instance firewall rule. Okay, so sign into Lightsail, which we do here. Okay. Let's see if our instance is up and running, which it is. Cool. Go in here. We created that. So it says on the instance tab, select that, choose the name of the instance, choose the name of the instance for which you want to add or edit firewall rule. So obviously we only have this one that we have available. Choose networking tab for your instance. So choose networking tab. Go into networking. Okay. Scroll down to firewall section, add rule with a little pencil icon. So go down to add rule. And you can actually sort of see that we've actually already got kind of two rules here that's already been enabled. So you could actually remove these if you really wanted, but port 22 is used for SSH. So if you remove that, you won't be able to SSH into your box. And HTTP port 80 is for your websites, basically unencrypted, um, non-TLS supported. So be kind of careful when you're basically adding and removing rules. Is the general rule. So this is here. We can add um, application. So choose an application layer protocol from the application dropdown. For example, OTCP, UDP, SSH. So you can go in here, click on custom. You can sort of say you want to allow, something like HTTPS. So you want to allow, application um, for websites that's encrypted that have SSL certs. You can also sort of say SSH or DP, all TCP. So let's just sort of see what they kind of add as part of their. So custom TCP, port range, and then the source IP. Okay, so this is really kind of good because what you're basically doing is, yeah, the application here is custom. So any application here coming over TCP, coming over onto the port range, and coming into the actual IP address here. Um, and here you can also sort of say, you know, um, restrict to IP address. So just make sure that only this IP is basically allowed connect over to your system. Allow Lightsail browser SSH only. So so here they've kind of got running instance here. So they've got a running instance here for Windows Server. Then they've got a WordPress, which is here. Then they sort of say, okay. So then basically what they're sort of saying is they're allowing this MySQL Aurora on TCP on this port from any IP address um, over to connect into your system. So it's nicely done. It's very easy. It's very um, it's very handy to delete and create. Whichever system you basically have running. The point is you'd have to make sure that you allow that. So here, for example, allow a ping. So if that was to allow like a ping, because by default a lot of these systems don't even kind of allow ping, but you sort of see this is a protocol that the IP is actually being removed. So here you can sort of specify if you want to only allow that source address to basically come to be able to do a ping to your server. If I kind of go in here and sort of say, let's sort of say, imagine we had a MySQL, the port range here is 3306, and then you can restrict it to your MySQL if you have a MySQL. So what you're trying to do is make sure that you don't expose ports that you don't need, and you're only exposing the ports that you do need, and making sure that any other ports are basically blocked. So the rule is always least privilege, which basically means deny everything and only allow what you really need. So deny everything and only allow what you really essentially need. So as you kind of, design these types of systems, you would sort of say, well, this system A needs to talk to system B. So basically they will communicate on this port, only allow that port. That's the best practice basically. We don't need, yes, disable that. We don't need IPv6. There's no need for that. Basically, that is SSH. So, for example, it's already got SSH here. So I could say here, I could edit. I could, delete. You know, I can do whatever I basically want. So if I didn't want, SSH here, I could actually kind of delete that rule. Um, I could delete HTTP. I could just now add a new kind of rule back for SSH on port 22. Allow it only allow this IP. But I don't have another IP, so I can kind of create that back. So it is kind of flexible in what you can basically do. So um, not too much more to sort of say in this. We've discovered a little bit about these setup for networking in Lightsail.